channel 2 for your sound?
Okay, regarding sound, channel 1 or channel 2 doesn't matter. Okay? Sound by definition is stereophonic because we listen with 2 ears. You can say that a microphone with two microphones connected like that would be a representation of the oral relationship, and a single microphone just directed at my mouth like this one would be a representation of a speaking voice of the mouth. Okay, the mouth is monaural. There's one mouth, and we hear stereophonically. So if you want to get a radiophonic sort of full speech in both ears that sounds like voiceover, or something that sort of sounds like your own voice, or sounds like someone speaking to you, it should always be a monaural microphone. And that means one channel. So you can record it on channel 1 or you can record it on channel 2. It doesn't really matter, because eventually you'll be using just that channel alone. On the other hand, if you want to mimic a situation of hearing through one's ears, where, for example, where the sounds come from that direction, from this direction, would have significance in the sound space you're recording, then you will want to use 2 microphones in a sort of 90 degrees situation. So basically, each microphone would record its own cardioid shape. So there's a kind of environment that the microphone is sensitive to. And if there would be a second one coming here, it will be sensitive to another slightly different environment. The summary of both environments together creates a sound space. So each area of sound, well, where the sound is coming from, sounds slightly different in each one of those mics. So the summation, when we listen to it in headphones, would sound like a stereo recording. Okay, so channel 1 and 2 are meant for stereophonic situation when we use together. But usually in a sort of journalism / documentary situations, we don't really use stereo sound that much, which I'm aiming to change here. But the general practice is to use mono, and then you'd have two microphones, right? You'd have your reporter mic, and you might have another wireless mic on your subject, on the person you're speaking to. So then channel 1, for example, you can use for your own mic, and channel 2 you can use for the interviewee's mic, or you can swap between them. It doesn't really matter, because each one is mono. Right, so there's 2, also in Final Cut Pro when you're mixing, if you highlight the audio file, you'll have different channel configurations you can switch between, either stereo or mono or dual mono. Dual mono is exactly that situation. There's 2 microphones, each one is recording a different speaker, but you want to hear both of them as coming from the center of the sound field as mono. Does that help?
If you're doing your interview, which they will be doing,
yeah.
In fact, you will have one mic on the interviewee, and one mic if you're doing the interviewing on you if you want to get the questions, won't you? So
I would strongly recommend that, yes.
So in fact, you'd be using both your channels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no real reason to use the internal mic in these cameras. No real reason, especially if you're going to take one channel and use it for something else. Unless you want to get environment sound. So if it's an office, you want to get the environment sound while someone is speaking as well into another mic. So you might just use one microphone on one channel, and then the other channel will be left on the internal microphone. But
you wouldn't be able to separate it.
You will, because there are 2 channels. Stereo always has 2 channels, channel 1 and channel 2. So channel 1 would be a microphone, channel 2 would be the camera's internal microphone, which will record the room, for example. So you can mix between the 2. But you'll get a mono recording of the room. So it's okay, but it's not ideal. Once again, taking a Zoom with you, which is so compact it's hardly noticeable, or if you just pop it in your bag, just the device itself without all the box, it's such a good safety mechanism. It's such a good safety device for not losing out on your sound completely. Because people in the stress of the moment, maybe they didn't notice that the switch there was on internal mic while two microphones were connected and no sound. And it's happened so many times to students working, because usually you'll be running back and forth. Just put this in your kit regardless, and put it there to record whatever you're doing regardless. Don't think about sync, don't think about anything. Have it there recording whatever's happening. If all else fails, trusty Zoom will be there for you. And by now, the guys here know how to use the Zoom well enough to do all kinds of stuff with it. So I think, once again, currently the 3 years, this beginning of this year, third-year students used to have the habit of taking this camera just to record sound, and then taking a DSLR to record the video. That's how they used to do it, because this camera has input for microphones. So I think it's definitely lighter to take this camera and this Zoom, and you're good to go. Plus, potentially a mic, yeah. But once again, if you have a Zoom, you might use it instead of this handheld mic, which people are doing as well at the moment. Second years are using the Zoom instead of this handheld mic. The interviewee can hold the Zoom in their hand instead of holding this mic. And actually the Zoom produces a little bit less noise from handling as well. Yeah, Zoom. That's my recommendation, regardless of whatever's happening in the kit that you're using. Any other questions? Any more questions? Okay, so let's